Hey guys, good day. So, the sons of gods. So, where do I start? So I've been talking about extraterrestrial contact for a long time. I've been channeling for a long time, seven years, over 7 years. I think my YouTube channel has been going. And so synchronicity brought me to Peru and places like this. And so I've talked a lot about these ancient structures. Not actually this. This is more 500-700 years ago, something like this. Maybe it's Inca, but a bit further over there, somewhere around there, there's the more advanced stuff. I show you these stones, these super high-tech stones. You've seen the videos if you're an avid follower of my channel. And so if you don't know what I'm talking about, check out the video titled ET Tech or Atlantean Technology, ET Technology in Ollantaytambo, Ollantaytambo, something like that. And so I've talked a lot about this theory that I guess these beings came from Atlantis. So that Atlantis was very real, and that there was definitely some great cataclysm around 12,000 years ago. There were a lot of signs. There was a major cataclysm, a major flood. And Atlantis was a very highly evolved civilization. Life is cyclical in nature. There's this thing called the precession of the equinoxes. You can look it up. It's, I believe, a 25,200 year cycle. I hope I got the numbers right. And so we have a 12,600 year up cycle and a 12,600 year down cycle, and it's how long it takes the zodiac to like move completely round in one cycle. It's a greater cycle of the zodiac. And so 25,210 years ago, sorry, we were basically a whole cycle ago, we were at the bottom of a cycle. And we went through a 12,600 year upward cycle, and this was the peak of Atlantis. Like the upward cycle is where we go more into spirit. We go more into our higher consciousness, our higher self, God's source, the divine. So we're going more into, so as a species, we're evolving more into more and more spiritual beings, more and more divine beings, more and more aligned with a higher self, source, God, and selfless service to creation. And so around about the peak here, we entered a devolutionary cycle, and these are very natural cycles. And so we went through a 25,600 year devolutionary cycle into matter, whereas beings, we become more and more materialistic, more and more like warring, greedy, selfish, avarice, these kind of things. And so and this is kind of where we are today. We're actually just December the 21st, 2012, as I understand it, was the bottom point. And now we're actually on an upward cycle. So this is the point where humanity had become most materialistic, and just approaching this point, like we're coming to a big shift, and a lot of people are beginning to awaken spiritually to their divine nature, to selfless divine being in alignment with higher self. But of course, you know, in this area here, there was lots of warring, lots of materialism, and lots of people on the planet are still only focused on materialistic and selfish gain. And so, but now we're heading into this upward cycle after we passed through December the 21st, 2012. We're beginning to cycle upwards, and this is why people are becoming much more conscious, much more interested in spirituality, much more interested in helping other people. And a lot more of a draw towards spirit, towards the divine, towards higher consciousness than like down here and back here, like materialistic gain. And so up here at the peak of the cycle, 12,600 years ago, and by the way, it's spiral in nature, so we're always evolving. We learn everything from Atlantis, from the legend of Atlantis. Although we're in devolution and we're becoming lower consciousness, like now, like this 12,600 year cycle, we're going to be like way higher frequency when we reach the top than we were in Atlantis. And of course I say we because I believe in reincarnation. Reincarnation is very real as I understand it, and we actually took incarnations in Atlantis. We took incarnations in, you know, ancient Egypt, where they still had this very high divine knowledge, and we've taken incarnations all the way around this circle, incarnations. And so after the collapse of Atlantis, these beings after the Great Flood or whatever happened. It was either a meteorite strike, or in this book I'm reading, Initiation by Elizabeth Heitch, where I'm getting some of this information from. It's a real good source of info. I'll put a link to it below. She talks about how, because at the top of the cycle, as we begin to descend into matter, like beings begun to have selfish intent. They were like, oh wait there, we can use all this high technology of Atlantis to amass great material wealth, great power, ha 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 ha, and control other people for our own gain, and we can have all the riches in the world. And they started to meddle with these high technology devices, like I believe the Lost Ark, Indiana Jones and the Lost Raiders of the Lost Ark. The Ark was an example of like this high technology that was perhaps more aligned with the Egyptian, like what they learned from the Atlanteans. But who knows, it maybe came all the way from Atlantis. But there was all these high technology devices that were extremely powerful for manifestation and controlling the laws of nature, controlling weather, controlling all sorts of stuff. And they started to meddle with this. And apparently one like dark person who'd become evil, selfishly oriented, actually inverted this on himself and destroyed himself into antimatter or something, and it created a chain reaction that destroyed the whole continent. That's another theory of how Atlantis dissolved. And so these beings went to different places in the world, and this is where it gets interesting, because we have physical evidence, and there's a lot of people talking about this on the internet right now. My favourite was John Anthony West and his series Magical Egypt. He also did a documentary called Mystery of the Sphinx, where he gives a lot of evidence that the Sphinx is a lot older than what is officially known. Graham Hancock does a lot of work into this. There's a great channel called Brien Foerster, Foerster. He talks about a lot of the very similar stuff to I do. He's based in Peru, I believe, in Cusco, actually not far from here. And so beings and these were the beings with the large skulls. They had huge craniums. When I went to Egypt, I stayed in the Hotel Nefertiti, and there was a wonderful statue of her. And Nefertiti is a great example. If you look up the Goddess Nefertiti or Princess Nefertiti on the internet, you'll see she has this huge elongated skull. And I believe Nefertiti was married to Akhenaten, who also had this elongated skull. Akhenaten and Nefertiti had a child, and I can't remember his name now, but there's a statue of him in the museum, and he's also got this elongated skull. And these are all ancient Egyptian beings I'm talking about, but also this elongated cranium, this hugely elongated, like really crazy, like almost going a foot back in some of the examples. These beings also, there's a lot of examples here in Cusco, in Peru. There was some examples of these beings with the elongated cranium in Pisac, where I used to live, in the museum there, the little museum there. I need to go around the museums in Cusco yet, but there's a lot of examples Brien Foerster talks about on his channel. So these beings were also found in mummies here in Peru. And apparently there was a tradition of actually like tying like bandages round your head to actually deform your skull into this elongated skull, to look like the older, because they were viewed as a divine race, like a much more highly evolved race, and they were, and so people like to reproduce this. But there was actually, I was just thinking, well, when you say that like the ETs are more evolved than us, or these beings are much more evolved than us, and some people get triggered, some people don't like to hear that there's more evolved beings than humans. But I assure you from my contact experiences, like they are way more evolved than us. They exist in another dimension, it's really hard to explain, but evolution goes a lot more higher evolved than humanity. And so these beings were found, these beings with the elongated craniums, like the real ones, like not the people deforming their heads. They were these beings from Atlantis. I'm not sure if what they were called, the Anunnaki. I think some people called them the Anunnaki, the Anu. The Nephilim in the Bible, these is also pointing to the same beings. And doesn't it say something in the Bible about and how the I'm not sure if it actually calls it. It's something about taking and the sons of God took the daughters of men for their brides, and this is how it actually went on. Like, and the sons of God would intermarry and interbreed, have children with the daughters of. So let me go back a little bit. So the sons of God are these beings. They are these beings of Anunnaki that are found here in Peru with the elongated cranium, that are found here, that are found in Egypt, like Nefertiti, Akhenaten and their son, with the elongated cranium. And these were a divine race. They were much more spiritually evolved. They were directly one with Source. And these beings, like the rulers in ancient Egypt, certainly in the older dynasty, that were the sons of gods, they were purely enlightened beings who devoted their whole life to serving other beings. A little bit different from our leaders today, who are more interested in just stoking their own ego and gaining power, and you get the idea. But this is natural. This is because we're in this devolutionary cycle, and so we don't need to judge them. They just have a much lower consciousness. And so yeah, and these are these beings that built these amazing sites here, like in Ollantaytambo, in Cusco, in Giza. They had a much higher technology. They were way more advanced than us. They could do magic. They would levitate the stones. They had technology that could levitate the stones. And so the sons of God were the Nephilim from the Bible, were the Anunnaki, were the Atlantean beings. And Osiris apparently was one of these beings from ancient Egypt. And yeah, so that's kind of the story. And the reason why it's really fascinating for me particularly, like having all these contact experiences, ET contact experiences, and this interest in this higher reality, and me personally understanding that they are real, while still a lot of people on Earth still doubt that we are being visited by extraterrestrials. This is like proof. Like it's amazing scientific, architectural, physical proof that a higher civilization previously existed on this earth. And like many people are talking about this, Graham Hancock, like I say, and John Anthony West in God bless his soul in the afterlife, Brien Foerster, and many more people talking about this. If you follow Gaia TV, I'm sure you've seen a lot about this. And so this is like evidence, like the architectural technology. I made some videos about this. It's like way more advanced than anything we can do today. And so the stories and the legends, where you add the dots together from these ancient stories from Sumeria, in the Sumerian cuneiform tablets, where they talk about these higher races with higher technologies and all these ancient legends. If you look at like the emerald tablets of Thoth, if you're interested in this stuff, I definitely recommend you check out the emerald tablets of Thoth, because Thoth was one of these highly evolved sons of gods, one of the most evolved beings ever to walk planet Earth, and he wrote these tablets called the emerald tablets, and they're available today. They're on a good website. I think it's crystallinks.com. Just type in Emerald Tablets of Thoth, Thoth, and you'll come across them. And yeah, it all fits together. Like all these puzzle pieces are coming together, guys, and it's all becoming very evident that we're living in a whole new dimension of reality. A whole new paradigm is birthing on Earth. So have a great day, guys, and I'll see you in another now. Peace, love, and light. Shiva.